There was a single pencil in the drawer. Lee Jae-hyun stopped. One old wooden pencil. Just one. The tip worn blunt. The surface dull with age. The eraser at the end nearly gone. He had found it in the innermost drawer of his father's desk. Pressed among other objects, he picked it up. Light, short. It had been longer once. Much of it had been used. And beside it, a folded piece of paper. He unfolded it. His father's handwriting, pressed firmly with a pen. Old but readable. This pencil belongs to Sin Dong-yu. 20 years ago he used this pencil to write his last letter. After he finished writing, he left it in my hands. He is no longer here. But I don't think his family knows where that letter went. He said he was from the southern Riverside village. Find them. The family should know what this pencil wrote. A name Jae-hyun had never once heard. Sin Dong-yu. Not from his father. Not in 22 years of living together. The family should know what this pencil wrote. That last sentence was the one that would not leave. His father had been present when someone wrote a last letter. He had kept the pencil for 20 years. And he had written the family should know. He held the pencil close to the candle. The worn surface. The blunted tip. A pencil wears down this way when it is held for a long time. When someone with little strength grips it and writes carefully. This pencil had been in a sick person's hand. His father had given it. 20 years ago. His father had died 84 days ago. Before dawn, he had come out of his room to find him on the floor. Heart failure. His heart had been weak for years. The evening before had given nothing away. Dinner, television, the usual cough, bed. Nothing more. The funeral had passed. His older brother came from far away and left after 3 days. Jae-hyun remained alone. His mother had died when he was 16. After that, he and his father had lived together in this house. For 22 years, now only Jae-hyun remained. He had not moved a single thing from his father's room. Not the cushion, not the teacup, not the slippers. For more than 2 months he had put off sorting. Today he had finally made himself go in. The desk, the innermost drawer, the pencil, the note. His father had been a quiet man. Not warm, but not frightening. Simply still. He swept the yard. He walked briefly in the alley and came back. He set dinner on the table each evening. They ate and watched television and said very little. For 22 years, Jae-hyun had never once asked what his father was thinking. His father had never offered. That was how this house had worked. And this pencil had been in that drawer the whole time. For 20 years, with a note that said the family should know what this pencil wrote. Through careful inquiries over the following days, a name and contact came. A man named Sin Min-jun was living in the southern Riverside village. In his early 40s, he was Sin Dong-yu's son. He called. A man answered, low and clear. Jae-hyun said, "My name is Lee Jae-hyun. I am the son of Lee Byung-ho. My father died 84 days ago. I found a pencil while sorting through his belongings. His note said it belonged to Sin Dong-yu. That he used it to write his last letter." The line went quiet for a long time. Then the man said, "Sin Dong-yu is my father. He died 20 years ago." Something in the voice, old and contained. He said, "My father's last letter. I would like to meet you in person. Will you come?" Jae-hyun said tomorrow. The next morning he took the early bus with the pencil in his coat pocket. 2.5 hours. A riverside village to the south. May now. Full spring. River sound audible from the station. Spring water, clear and moving. Small village, quiet station. He walked the alleys. Gray walls. Spring wind. Thick green leaves. He found the house. A vegetable plot in the yard. Spring greens growing well. He knocked. Quick clear footsteps. The door opened. A man in his early 40s. Short dark hair. Deep clear eyes. A worn jacket. Both hands loosely clasped in front. He looked at Jae-hyun for a long time. Then he said, "Are you Lee Jae-hyun?" Jae-hyun said yes. He said, "Sin Min-jun. Come in." They sat across a worn wooden table. 2 cups of tea poured. May afternoon light, warm and bright. On the wall, several old photographs. Family photographs. One showed a man in his 30s. Deep eyes, smiling. The river behind him. Sin Dong Yu. Alive, smiling. Jae Hyeon placed the pencil on the table. Then the note. The man looked at the pencil. He reached out and picked it up. Stopped. He held it in his open palm without moving. He ran his thumb slowly over the blunted tip, over the worn surface, over the place where the eraser had been. He looked at it for a long time. His eyes changed. Something old moved in them. He read the note. The family should know what this pencil wrote. He stopped at that line. He read it again. He set the note down. He was quiet. He said Lee Byung-ho kept this for 20 years. Jae Hyeon said in his desk drawer. He said nothing about it in 22 years of living together. Today was the first time I knew. The man set the pencil down. He looked out the window at the river briefly. Then he began. My father became very ill when he was working away from home. In another village, he collapsed. Your father Lee Byung-ho was there. He was present when my father wanted to write a letter to my mother. Your father gave him a pencil. My father wrote the letter with very little strength. The family was called. When we arrived, my father had already weakened greatly. He gave us the letter. A few days later he was gone. I was in my early 20s then. Jae Hyeon's hands went still. He continued. My mother kept that letter for the rest of her life. She passed away 5 years ago. She kept it until the end. Your father gave him the pencil that letter was written with. And then your father kept that pencil for 20 years. Because the family should know what it wrote. Jae Hyeon said he was present when your father wrote his last letter. He handed him the pencil. And then the pencil stayed in his hands. He could not throw it away. He knew what it had written. He knew a family was out there who might not know how the last letter came to be. And at the very end he asked me to find you, to let you know. That was his way. The way of being present when it mattered. The way of carrying what was left behind. And the way of trusting his son to finish what he could not. The man looked at Jae Hyeon for a long time. Something old and deep moved through his eyes. Then he closed his eyes. He held them shut for a long moment. When he opened them, they were wet at the inner corners. He did not let it fall. He said thank you, and thank your father. He was beside my father when it mattered. He kept the pencil. He wanted us to know. Would you have felt the weight of this moment more, before knowing what the pencil had written, or after? The two men sat without speaking. The pencil on the table. The note beside it. The family should know what this pencil wrote. May wind outside. River sound. Spring fully here and settled. The kind of spring that simply is. The man picked up the pencil. He held it for a long time. Then he said, I will keep this. My father held this when he wrote his last letter. It belongs here. He rose and went to the wall. He took down one of the photographs. The one of his father by the river. He brought it to the table. He said, take this. I have another of this photograph. And your father was there that day, in a way. This belongs with his son. Jae Hyeon received the photograph with both hands. Sin Dong Yu, alive, smiling by the river. Taken before the winter that would take him. Before the last letter. Before a quiet man handed him a pencil and then kept it for 20 years. He came home after dark. He went to his father's desk. He opened the innermost drawer. The empty place where the pencil had been. He placed the note there. His father's words. In his father's place. And beside the note, the photograph. A man by the river smiling. The drawer held what remained. His father had been a quiet man. But not a man who walked away from someone in difficulty. He had been present when a sick man wanted to write a letter. He had handed him a pencil without making a story of it. He had taken the pencil back when the writing was done. And he had kept it for 20 years. Because what that pencil had written was not something to be forgotten or discarded. That had been his way. The way of quiet presence. The way of knowing what deserved to be remembered. and the way of trusting his son to carry the last part. Jae Hyeon had learned one part of it today. Perhaps too late, but today was enough. What is held in witness is not always spoken. Sometimes it waits in an old pencil in a desk drawer for 20 years, waiting for someone to finally find it, and to carry the knowledge to the family that should have always known. If this story stayed with you, the next one begins here too.